This is David Whispers, and today we're going to be reading about Leonardo DiCaprio from Wikipedia. Leonardo Wilhelm DiCaprio, born November 11th, 1974, is an American actor, film producer, and environmentalist known for his work in biopics and period films. DiCaprio has received numerous accolades throughout his career, including an Academy Award, a British Academy Film Award, a Screen Actors Guild Award, and 3 Golden Globe Awards. As of 2019, his films have grossed over $7.2 billion worldwide, and he has been placed 8 times in annual rankings of the world's highest paid actors. Born in Los Angeles, DiCaprio began his career in the late 1980s by appearing in television commercials. In the early 1990s, he had reoccurring roles in various television shows, such as the sitcom Parenthood. DiCaprio had his first major film role as author Tobias Wolff in This Boy's Life. At age 19, he received critical acclaim and his first Academy Award and Golden Globe Award nominations for his performance as a developmentally disabled boy, Arnie Grape, in What's Eating Gilbert Grape. He achieved international stardom in the epic romance Titanic, which became the highest-grossing film to that point. After a few commercially unsuccessful films, DiCaprio starred in 2 successful features in 2002, the biographical crime drama Catch Me If You Can, and the historical drama Gangs of New York, which marked the first of his many successful collaborations with director Martin Scorsese. DiCaprio portrayed Howard Hughes in The Aviator and continued to receive acclaim for his performances in the political thriller Blood Diamond, the crime drama The Departed, and the romantic drama Revolutionary Road. In the 2010s, he starred in the science fiction thriller Inception, the western Django Unchained, the biopic The Wolf of Wall Street, the survival drama The Revenant, for which he won an Academy Award and a BAFTA Award for Best Actor in a Leading Role, and the comedy drama Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, all of which were critical and commercial successes. DiCaprio is the founder of Appian Way Productions, a production company that has produced some of his films in the documentary series Greensburg, and the Leonardo DiCaprio Foundation, a non-profit organization devoted to promoting environmental awareness. He regularly supports charitable causes and has produced several documentaries on the environment. In 2005, he was named the commander of the Ordre des Arts et des Lettres for his contributions to the arts, and in 2016, he was named one of the 100 most influential people in the world by Time magazine. Leonardo Wilhelm DiCaprio was born on November 11th, 1974, in Los Angeles, California, the only child of Irma Lynn, a legal secretary, and George DiCaprio, an underground comics writer, publisher, and distributor of comic books. His father is of Italian and German descent. DiCaprio is conversant in Italian. His maternal grandfather, Wilhelm Indenbergen, was German, and his maternal grandmother, Helene Indenbergen, was a Russian-born German citizen. In an interview in Russia, DiCaprio referred to himself as half-Russian and said that 2 of his late grandparents were Russian. His parents met while attending college and moved to Los Angeles after graduating. DiCaprio was raised Catholic. DiCaprio was named Leonardo because his mother, then pregnant with him, first felt him kick while she was looking at a Leonardo da Vinci painting in the Uffizi Museum in Florence, Italy. His parents separated when he was 1 year old. They initially agreed to live next door to each other, to not deprive DiCaprio of his father's presence in his life, as he mostly lived with his mother. For a while, though, DiCaprio lived with his father, stepmother, and older stepbrother, Adam Farrar, with whom he was close growing up. his mother later moved around to multiple Los Angeles neighborhoods, such as Echo Park and Los Feliz, while she worked several jobs. He went to Seeds Elementary School and later John Marshall High School after attending the Los Angeles Center for Enriched Studies for 4 years. DiCaprio has said he hated public school and often asked his mother to take him to auditions instead to improve their financial situation. He dropped out of high school following his 3rd year and eventually earned his GED. DiCaprio has said his career choice as a child was to become a marine biologist or an actor, but eventually favored the latter as he was fond of impersonating characters and imitating people. When he was 2, he went on stage at a performance festival and danced spontaneously. The cheerful response from the crowd started his interest in performing. When his stepbrother earned $50,000 for a television commercial, DiCaprio, fascinated with this, decided to become an actor. In 1979, DiCaprio was removed at age 5 from the set of the children's television series Romper Room for being disruptive. He began appearing in several commercials at age 14 for Matchbox cars by Mattel, which he considered his first role, and later for Kraft Foods, Bubble Yum, and Apple Jacks. In 1989, he played the role of Glenn in 2 episodes of the television show The New Lassie. At the beginning of his career, DiCaprio had difficulty finding an agent, and when he did find one, he suggested DiCaprio change his name to Lenny Williams to appeal to the American audience, which he declined to do. He remained jobless for a year and a half, even after 100 auditions. Disillusioned at this, he initially decided to quit acting, but his father encouraged him not to give up, and he needed the money to support his mother. By the early 1990s, he began acting regularly on television, starting with a role in the pilot of The Outsiders, and one episode of the soap opera Santa Barbara, in which he played the young Mason Capwell. DiCaprio got a break that year when he was cast in Parenthood, a series based on a successful comedy film of the same name. Before being cast in the role of Gary Buckman, a troubled teenager, he analyzed Joaquin Phoenix's performance in the original film. His work that year earned him 2 nominations at the 12th Youth in Film Awards, Best Young Actor in a Daytime Series for Santa Barbara, and Best Young Actor starring in a new television series for Parenthood. DiCaprio was also a celebrity contestant on the children's game show Funhouse, on which he performed several stunts, including catching the fish inside a small pool using only his teeth. In 1991, DiCaprio played an uncredited role in one episode of Roseanne. He made his film debut later that year as the stepson of an evil landlord in the low-budget horror direct-to-video film Critters 3, a role he described as your average, no-depth, standard kid with blonde hair. DiCaprio prefers not to remember Critters 3, which he describes as possibly one of the worst films of all time. I guess it was a good example to look back and make sure it doesn't happen again. Later that year, he became a recurring cast member on the sitcom Growing Pains, playing Luke Bauer, a homeless boy who was taken in by the Seaver family. Co-star Joanna Kearns recalls DiCaprio being especially intelligent and disarming for his age, but also mischievous on set. The teenage DiCaprio was cast by the producers to appeal to the teenage female audiences, but when the show's ratings did not improve, DiCaprio quit. He was nominated for a Young Artist Award for Best Young Actor, co-starring in a television series. In 1992, DiCaprio played a supporting role in the first installment of the Poison Ivy film series and was handpicked by Robert De Niro out of 400 young actors to play the lead role of Tobias Toby Wolf in Michael Caton Jones's coming-of-age drama This Boy's Life. He starred opposite De Niro and Ellen Barkin, who played his stepfather and mother, respectively. Caton Jones said DiCaprio did not know how to behave on set. He applied a strict mentoring style that he said resulted in improvements in DiCaprio's behavior. Bilge Ebiri of Rolling Stone found it touching little movie defined by the powerful bond between Barkin and DiCaprio, praising his complex growth from a wide-eyed son to a rebellious greaser to an independent, sensitive young man. In 1993, DiCaprio co-starred as the intellectually disabled brother of Johnny Depp's character in What's Eating Gilbert Grape, a comic tragic odyssey of a dysfunctional Iowa family. According to director Lasse Hallström, he was initially looking for a less good-looking actor, but cast DiCaprio after he contacted Caton Jones and found DiCaprio to be the most observant actor among all who auditioned. The film became a critical success, earning DiCaprio a Chicago Film Critic Association Award, a Los Angeles Film Critics Association Award, and a National Board of Review Award, as well as nominations for an Academy Award and a Golden Globe Award for Best Supporting Actor. At 19, he became the 7th youngest nominee in the Oscar category. The film's real show-stopping turn comes from Mr. DiCaprio, wrote the New York Times critic Janet Maslin, who makes Arnie's many tics so startling and vivid that at first he is difficult to watch. The performance has a sharp, desperate intensity from beginning to end. Karen James, also writing for the New York Times, said of his performances in This Boy's Life and What's Eating Gilbert Grape, he made the raw, emotional neediness of those boys completely natural and powerful. DiCaprio's first effort of 1995 was in Sam Raimi's Western film The Quick and the Dead. Sony's picture was dubious over DiCaprio's casting, and as a result, co-star Sharon Stone paid his salary herself. The film was released to a dismal box office performance, barely grossing $18.5 million in the US, and received mixed reviews from critics. DiCaprio's next film in 1995 was The Basketball Diaries, a biopic in which he played a teenage Jim Carroll as a drug-addicted high school basketball player and writer. DiCaprio next starred alongside David Thewlis in Agnieszka Holland's erotic drama Total Eclipse, a fictionalized account of the homosexual relationship between Arthur Rimbaud and Paul Verlaine. He replaced River Phoenix, who died before filming began. Although the film failed commercially, it has been included in the catalog of Warner Archive Collection, a home video division for releasing classic and cult films from Warner Brothers' library. In 1996, DiCaprio starred opposite Claire Danes in Baz Luhrmann's film Romeo and Juliet, an abridged modernization of William Shakespeare's romantic tragedy of the same name, which retained the original Shakespearean dialogue. The project grossed $147 million worldwide and earned DiCaprio a Silver Bear for the Best Actor at the 1997 Berlin International Film Festival. Later that year, DiCaprio starred in Marvin's Room, a family drama revolving around two sisters, played by Meryl Streep and Diane Keaton, who are reunited through tragedy after 17 years of estrangement. DiCaprio portrayed Hank, Streep's character's troubled son, who has been committed to a mental asylum. On his performance, Liz Schwartzbaum of Entertainment Weekly commented, "The deeply gifted DiCaprio keeps right up with these older pros, Keaton and Streep. The three are so full-bodied and so powerfully affecting that you're carried along on the pleasure of being in the presence of their extraordinary talent." Reviewing his works of his earlier career, David Thompson of The Guardian called DiCaprio's a revelation in What's Eating Gilbert Grape, very moving in This Boy's Life, suitably desperate in The Basketball Diaries, and a vital spark in Romeo and Juliet. DiCaprio rejected a role in the film Boogie Nights to star opposite Kate Winslet in James Cameron's Titanic, as members of different social classes who fall in love aboard the RMS Titanic during its ill-fated maiden voyage. DiCaprio initially had doubts about it, but was eventually encouraged to pursue the part by Cameron, who strongly believed in his acting ability. With a production budget of more than $200 million, the film was the most expensive ever made and was shot at Rosarito Beach, where a replica of the ship was created. Against expectations, Titanic Jack Dawson transformed DiCaprio into a superstar, resulting in intense adoration among teenage girls and young women in general that became known as Leo mania, comparable to Beatlemania in the 1960s. The film won 11 Academy Awards, the most for any film, including Best Picture. But DiCaprio's failure to gain a nomination led to a protest of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences by more than 200 fans. He was nominated for other high-profile awards, including a Golden Globe Award for Best Actor. DiCaprio stated in 2000, "I have no connection with me during that whole Titanic phenomenon and what my face became around the world. I'll never reach that state of popularity again, and I don't expect to. It's not something I'm going to try to achieve either." Bill Jabiri called his role in the film his best in 2015, writing that DiCaprio and Winslet infused their earnest back and forth with so much genuine emotion that it's hard not to get swept up in their doomed love affair. A journalist for Vanity Fair labeled them in 2008 Hollywood's most iconic screen couple since Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman. DiCaprio played a self-mocking role in a small appearance in Woody Allen's caustic satire of the fame industry, Celebrity, whom Bill Jabiri labeled the best thing in the film. That year, he also starred in the dual roles of the villainous King Louis XIV and his secret sympathetic twin brother Philippe in Randall Wallace's The Man in the Iron Mask, based on the same titled 1939 film. The film received mixed to negative response, but became a box office success, grossing $180 million internationally. Entertainment Weekly critic Owen Gleiberman wrote that DiCaprio did not look old enough to play the part, but praised him as a fluid and instinctive actor with the face of a mischievous angel. DiCaprio was awarded a Golden Raspberry Award for the worst screen couple for both incarnations the following year. DiCaprio was cast in American Psycho in 1998 for a reported salary of $20 million, but left the project soon after when he failed to agree with Oliver Stone on the film's direction and took the lead role in The Beach instead. The latter, an adaptation of Alex Garland's 1996 novel of the same name, saw him play an American backpacking tourist looking for the perfect way of life in a secret island commune in the Gulf of Thailand. Budgeted at $50 million, the film earned about 3 times more at the box office, but was negatively reviewed by critics and earned him a nomination for the Golden Raspberry Award for Worst Actor. Todd McCarthy of Variety noted that his character is too much the American everyman, and DiCaprio, while perfectly watchable, failed to give the character the unique marks to make him dimensional. In the mid-1990s, DiCaprio appeared in the mostly improvised short film called Dawn's Plum as a favor to aspiring director R.D. Robb. When Robb decided to expand the black and white film to feature length, DiCaprio and co-star Tobey Maguire had its release blocked by court order, arguing they never intended to make it a theatrical release, as it would have commercial value thanks to their stardom. The film eventually premiered at the 2001 Berlin International Film Festival, where it was well received by critics. DiCaprio turned down the role of Anakin Skywalker in Star Wars Episode II: Attack of the Clones. His first film that year was the biographical crime drama Catch Me If You Can, based on the life of Frank Abagnale Jr., who before his 19th birthday committed check fraud to make millions in the 1960s. Directed by Steven Spielberg, the film was shot across 147 different locations in 52 days, making it the most adventurous, supercharged movie-making DiCaprio had experienced yet. The film received critical acclaim, and with a worldwide gross of $351 million, it became his highest-grossing release since Titanic. Roger Ebert praised his performance and found his departure from dark and troubled characters breezy and charming, while 2 Entertainment Weekly critics in 2018 called it DiCaprio's best role, labeling him delightfully persuasive, deceptive, flirtatious, and sometimes tragic, and we dare you to find a better role if you can. DiCaprio DiCaprio received his third Golden Globe nomination for his performance in the film. Also in 2002, DiCaprio starred in Martin Scorsese's Gangs of New York, a historical drama set in the mid-19th century in the Five Points district of New York City. Director Scorsese initially struggled selling his idea of realizing the film until DiCaprio became interested in playing protagonist Amsterdam Vallon, a young leader of an Irish-American street gang, and thus Miramax Films got involved with financing the project. Nonetheless, production of the film was plagued by blowout budgets and producer-director disagreements, resulting in an 8-month shoot. With a budget of $103 million, the film was the most expensive Scorsese had ever made. Gangs of New York earned $193 million worldwide and received positive critical response. DiCaprio's performance, although well-received, was overshadowed by that of Daniel Day-Lewis's, according to many critics. In 2004, DiCaprio founded the production company Appian Way Productions, taking its name from the Italian road of the same name. He was interested in finding out-of-the-box material from an actor's perspective and developing it in a way that stayed true to its original source. He said, "A lot of times I'd gone through the process of getting a great book or finding a great story, and then too many people get their hands on it and it turns into something entirely different. It is very difficult to reverse that process." DiCaprio's first producing task was an executive producer in Niels Mueller, The Assassination of Richard Nixon, starring Sean Penn as Samuel Bick, who attempted to assassinate U.S. President Richard Nixon in 1974. It was screened in the Un Certain Regard section at the 2004 Cannes Film Festival. DiCaprio and Scorsese reunited for a biopic of the eccentric and obsessive American film director and aviation pioneer Howard Hughes in The Aviator, which DiCaprio also co-produced under Appian Way. DiCaprio initially developed the project with Michael Mann, who decided against directing it after working on biopics The Insider and Ali. DiCaprio eventually pitched John Logan's script to Scorsese, who quickly signed on to direct. The Aviator became a critical and financial success. Simon Brond of Empire wrote DiCaprio stood out in scenes depicting Hughes's paranoia and obsession, dispelling fears that he hasn't the weight to carry such a complex, forceful role. He received his first Golden Globe Award for Best Actor, Motion Picture Drama, and nominations for an Academy Award, a BAFTA Award, and a Screen Actors Guild Award for Best Actor. In 2006, DiCaprio starred in the crime film The Departed and the political war thriller Blood Diamond. In Scorsese's The Departed, DiCaprio played the role of Billy Costigan, a state trooper working undercover in the Irish mob in Boston, someone he characterizes as in a constant 24-hour panic attack. DiCaprio especially liked the experience of working with co-star Jack Nicholson, describing a scene with him as one of the most memorable moments of his life as an actor. In preparation, DiCaprio visited Boston to interact with people associated with the Irish mob and gained 15 pounds of muscle. Highly anticipated, the film opened to positive reviews and became one of the highest-rated wide-release films of 2006. Peter Travers of Rolling Stone praised DiCaprio's and co-star Matt Damon's explosive, emotionally complex performances, but felt that Nicholson overshadowed the two. Budgeted at $90 million, the film grossed $291 million and emerged as DiCaprio and Scorsese's highest-grossing collaboration to date. His performance in The Departed also earned him a Satellite Award for Best Supporting Actor and a nomination for a Screen Actors Guild Award in the same category. In Blood Diamond, DiCaprio starred as a diamond smuggler from Rhodesia who was involved in the Sierra Leone Civil War. While filming, he worked with 24 orphaned children from the SOS Children's Village in Maputo, Mozambique, and said he was touched by his interactions with them. To prepare, he spent 6 months in Africa, learned about camouflage from people in the South African military, and interviewed and recorded people in the country to improve his South African accent. The film received generally favorable reviews, and DiCaprio was praised for the authenticity of his South African accent, which is generally known as difficult to imitate. Claudia Puig of the USA Today called it the first time the boyish actor has truly seemed like a man on film, and Anne Hornaday of the Washington Post positively noted his growth as an actor since The Departed. The Golden Globes nominated DiCaprio in the Best Actor in a Drama category for each of his 2006 features, and DiCaprio earned his third Academy Award nomination for Blood Diamond and second BAFTA Award nomination for The Departed. In 2007, DiCaprio produced the comedy drama Gardener of Eden, which, according to The Hollywood Reporter's Frank Scheck, lacked the necessary dramatic urgency or black humor to connect with the audience. Shortly after, he created, produced, co-wrote, and narrated The 11th Hour, a documentary about people's relationship to nature and global warming. It won the Earthwatch Environmental Film Award through the National Geographic Channel in March 2008. DiCaprio was also a creator and an executive producer for Greensburg, an American television series broadcast on the Planet Green television network. The show takes place in Greensburg, Kansas, and is about rebuilding the town in a sustainable way after being hit by the May 2007 EF5 tornado. It ran for 3 seasons until 2010. In 2008, DiCaprio starred in Body of Lies, a spy film based on the novel of the same name. He played one of 3 agents battling a terrorist organization in the Middle East. DiCaprio dyed his hair brown and wore brown contacts for his role in the film, which he considered a throwback to political films of the 1970s like The Parallax View and 3 Days of the Condor. The film received mixed reviews from critics and grossed $115 million against a budget of $67.5 million. Later that year, DiCaprio reunited with Kate Winslet for the drama Revolutionary Road, directed by Winslet's then-husband Sam Mendes, as both actors had been reluctant to make romantic films similar to Titanic. It was Winslet who suggested that both work with her on a film adaptation of the 1961 novel of the same name by Richard Yates after reading the script by Justin Haythe, knowing that the plot had little in common with the 1997 blockbuster. Once DiCaprio agreed to the film, it went almost immediately into production. Playing a couple in a failing marriage in the 1950s, DiCaprio and Winslet spent some time together in preparation, and DiCaprio felt claustrophobic on the small set they used. He saw his character as unheroic and slightly cowardly and someone willing to just be a product of his environment. Marshall Sella of GQ called it the most mature and memorable performance of his lifetime. DiCaprio earned his 7th Golden Globes nomination for the film. He ended the 2000s by producing director Jaume Collet-Serra's psychological horror thriller film Orphan, starring Vera Farmiga, Peter Sarsgaard, and Isabelle Fuhrman. Although the film received mixed reviews, it was a commercial success. DiCaprio continued to collaborate with Scorsese in the 2010 psychological thriller film Shutter Island, based on the 2003 novel of the same name by Dennis Lehane. He played Edward Teddy Daniels, a U.S. Marshal investigating a psychiatric facility located on an island who comes to question his own sanity. DiCaprio and Scorsese quickly became interested in the project in 2007, and the former co-produced the film under Appian Way with Phoenix Pictures. Because of the film's plot involving disturbing scenes, DiCaprio had nightmares of mass murder during production and considered relaxing with his friend's therapy. The film was released to mixed reviews. Peter Bradshaw of The Guardian praised Scorsese's direction and the acting, but criticized its silly twist ending, calling it supremely exasperating. Peter Travers called it DiCaprio's most haunting and emotionally complex performance yet, and particularly liked his his cave scene with co-star Patricia Clarkson. The film was a commercial success, grossing $294 million worldwide. Also in 2010, DiCaprio starred in Christopher Nolan's ensemble science fiction film Inception, inspired by the experience of lucid dreaming and dream incubation. The film features Dom Cobb, played by DiCaprio, an extractor who enters the dreams of others to obtain information that is otherwise inaccessible. Cobb is promised a chance to regain his old life in exchange for planting an idea in a corporate target's mind. DiCaprio was intrigued by this concept, this dream heist notion, and how this character is going to unlock his dream world and ultimately affect his real life. Released to critical acclaim, Inception grossed over $825 million worldwide to become DiCaprio's second highest grossing film. To star in this film, DiCaprio agreed to a pay cut from his $20 million fee in favor of splitting first dollar gross points, meaning he received a percentage of cinema ticket sales. The risk paid off as DiCaprio earned $50 million from the film, becoming his highest payday yet. After playing demanding roles in Shutter Island and Inception, DiCaprio took a break from acting to have some time for himself. In 2011, he starred alongside Armie Hammer and Naomi Watts in Clint Eastwood's J. Edgar, a biopic about J. Edgar Hoover. The film focuses on the career of the FBI director from the Palmer raids onward, including an examination of his private life as an alleged closeted homosexual. Reviews toward the film were mixed. Critics felt that it lacked coherence overall, but commended DiCaprio's performance. Roger Ebert praised DiCaprio's fully realized, subtle, and persuasive performance, hinting at more than Hoover ever revealed, perhaps even to himself. Also in 2011, he produced Catherine Hardwicke's romantic horror film Red Riding Hood, very loosely based on the folktale Little Red Riding Hood. Although it was poorly received by critics, Mary Pulse of Time magazine named it one of the top 10 worst movies of 2011. It had moderate box office returns. He was also an executive producer for George Clooney's political drama The Ides of March, an adaptation of Beau Willimon's 2008 play Farragut North. In 2012, DiCaprio starred as a plantation owner, Calvin Candy, in Quentin Tarantino's spaghetti western Django Unchained. After reading the script, DiCaprio was uncomfortable with the extent of racism portrayed in the film, but his co-stars and Tarantino convinced him not to sugarcoat it. While filming, DiCaprio accidentally cut his hand on glass, but continued filming, and Tarantino elected to use the take in the final product. The film received critical acclaim. A writer for Wired magazine commended him for playing a villainous role in his blood-chilling performance. The film earned DiCaprio his 9th nomination at the Golden Globes, his first Best Supporting Actor nomination since the role of Arnie Grape in What's Eating Gilbert Grape in 1994. Django Unchained grossed $424 million worldwide on a production budget of $100 million. DiCaprio's next role was of multimillionaire Jay Gatsby in Baz Luhrmann's The Great Gatsby, an adaptation of F. Scott Fitzgerald's 1925 novel of the same name, co-starring Carey Mulligan and Tobey Maguire. DiCaprio liked the idea of playing a man who realizes his imaginations, someone he characterizes as a hopeless romantic, a completely obsessed wacko, or a dangerous gangster clinging to wealth. The film received mixed reviews from critics, but DiCaprio's performance was praised and earned him an AACTA award for Best Actor in a Leading Role. Critic Rafer Guzman of Newsday wrote that DiCaprio was not only tough, but also vulnerable, touching, funny, a faker, a human. It's a tremendous hard-won performance. Matt Zoller Zeiss of Roger Ebert's website described his performance as the movie's greatest and simplest special effect, and ironic, maybe his career best. The film grossed $348 million worldwide. 3 films were produced by DiCaprio under Appian Way in 2013. The ensemble crime thriller Runner Runner, which The Guardian's Zan Brooks described as a lazy, trashy film that barely goes through the motions. The thriller Out of the Furnace, a critical and commercial failure. And the black comedy drama The Wolf of Wall Street. DiCaprio reunited with Scorsese for the 5th time in The Lattermost, a film based on the life of stockbroker Jordan Belfort, played by DiCaprio, who was arrested in the late 1990s for securities fraud and money laundering. DiCaprio wanted to play Belfort ever since he had read his autobiography and won a bidding war with Warner Brothers against Brad Pitt, Paramount Pictures, for the rights to Belfort's memoir in 2007. He was fond of Belfort's honest and unapologetic portrayal of his actual experiences in the book, and was inspired by the fictional crisis of 2007-2008 to make the film. The Wolf of Wall Street received highly positive reviews for Scorsese's direction and DiCaprio's comedic performance. In his review for The Hollywood Reporter, Todd McCarthy wrote of his largest and best big screen performance, one in which he lets loose as he never has before, is not protective of vanity or a sense of cool, and one feels gets completely to the bottom of his character, and lauded him for playing his role without any caution. The film earned him the Golden Globe Award for the Best Actor in a Musical or Comedy, his 3rd nomination for a BAFTA Award for Best Actor in a Leading Role, and nominations for the Academy Award for Best Actor and Best Picture. In January 2013, DiCaprio said he would take a long break from acting to fly around the world doing good for the environment. DiCaprio was an executive producer on Virunga, a 2014 British documentary film about 4 people fighting to protect the world's last mountain gorillas from war and poaching. The film premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival in April 2014. DiCaprio received nomination for a 2015 Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Documentary or Nonfiction Special. Cowspiracy, The Sustainability Secret, was another documentary film that year for which he was an executive producer. He took part in the new cut released exclusively on Netflix that September. It explores the impact of animal agriculture on the environment and investigates the policies of environmental organizations on this issue. In 2015, DiCaprio produced and played fur trapper Hugh Glass in Alejandro G. Inarritu's survival drama, The Revenant. DiCaprio has described it as his most difficult film. He had to eat a raw slab of bison's liver and sleep in animal carcasses, and suffered hypothermia. He also learned to shoot a musket, build a fire, speak 2 Native American languages, Pawnee and Arikara, and apply ancient healing techniques. Built on a budget of $135 million, the film earned $533 million worldwide. It was also well received by critics, and DiCaprio's performance garnered universal acclaim. Mark Kermode of The Guardian wrote of DiCaprio's brainstorming portrayal and his turn to triumph with a performance which relies more upon physicality than the spoken word. And Nick DeSemmelin of Empire noted his raw performance helps elevate what could have been just another man vs. nature drama. The film earned him numerous awards, including an Academy Award, a Golden Globe, a BAFTA, a Screen Actors Guild Award, and a Critics' Choice Award, all for Best Actor. Also in 2015, he was an executive producer for Catching the Sun, a documentary film on the growth of the solar power industry that premiered on Netflix in April 2016. DiCaprio signed on to produce and star in The Crowded Room with direction by Inarritu, an adaptation of the story of Billy Milligan. It has been in development hell since before he got involved. In 2021, it was announced that The Crowded Room would instead be adapted as a 10-episode television series starring Tom Holland. For the next 3 years, DiCaprio narrated documentaries and served as a producer for films. In 2016, he was an executive producer for The Ivory Game, which examines the ivory trade, produced, hosted, and narrated the documentary Before the Flood about climate change, and produced the crime drama Live by Night. The lattermost received largely unenthusiastic reviews and failed to recoup its $65 million production budget. He continued to produce films 2 years later, the psychological horror movie Delirium, and the eponymous retelling of the legend Robin Hood, an action-adventure, both of which failed to make a mark at the box office. After narrating the 2019 global warming documentary Ice on Fire, DiCaprio returned to acting following a 4-year break in Quentin Tarantino's comedy drama Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which traces the relationship between Rick Dalton, played by DiCaprio, an aging television actor, and his stuntman Cliff Booth, played by Brad Pitt. To help the film's financing, DiCaprio and Pitt agreed to take a pay cut, and they each received $10 million. DiCaprio liked the experience of working with Pitt. Tarantino described the pair as the most exciting star dynamic duo since Robert Redford and Paul Newman. DiCaprio was fascinated with the film's homage to Hollywood and focus on the friendship between his and Pitt's characters. He drew from real-life experience of witnessing the struggles and rejections of his actor friends in the industry. Reviews for the film and DiCaprio's performance were positive. A critic for Business Insider called it the best performance of his career, and Ian Sandwell of Digital Spy particularly liked the duo's chemistry, which he said helps bring authenticity to their characters' connection. He received nominations for an Oscar, a Golden Globe, a BAFTA Award, and a Screen Actors Guild Award for Best Actor. The film earned $374 million against a budget of $90 million. In February 2019, National Geographic ordered a television series adaptation of The Right Stuff based on the 1973 book of the same name, with DiCaprio as executive producer. The series has been in development at National Geographic since July 2017. In May 2020, the series was moved to Disney Plus and released in October 2020. That May, he made a brief appearance in the finale of the miniseries The Last Dance. In August 2015, it was announced that Martin Scorsese will direct an adaptation of Eric Larson's The Devil in the White City, starring DiCaprio. In 2017, Paramount announced that it has acquired the movie rights for an English-language adaptation of The Black Hand, which will star DiCaprio as turn-of-the-20th-century police officer Joe Tracino. Later that year, Paramount won a bidding war against Universal for the rights to adapt Walter Isaacson's biography of Leonardo da Vinci. The studio bought the rights under its deal with DiCaprio's Appian Way, which said that it planned to produce the film with DiCaprio as the star. As of September 2018, DiCaprio was set to produce and star in Roosevelt, a biopic of former U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt, with Scorsese as the director. In October 2018, he was cast in Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon, based on the book of the same name by David Gran. In October 2020, it was announced that DiCaprio will star alongside Jennifer Lawrence in an Adam McKay-directed comedy film for Netflix titled Don't Look Up, featuring an ensemble cast including Meryl Streep, Cate Blanchett, Jonah Hill, Kid Cudi, Matthew Perry, Tyler Perry, Ariana Grande, and Timothée Chalamet. He joined the product as COVID-19 pandemic delays pushed back its original April 2020 production schedule and unofficially worked with McKay on the script. Early in his career, DiCaprio gained a reputation for his intense partying with his male friends. He said people's perception of him was exaggerated, adding, "They want you miserable, just like them. They don't want heroes. What they want is to see you fail. In 1998, he sued Playgirl magazine over plans to publish a fully nude picture of him. The New York Times' Karen James has credited DiCaprio for being one of the few actors to turn his successes into a new form of old-fashioned Hollywood stardom that uses celebrity to advance social causes, yet rarely lets the public beyond the glittering veil of the photo op. Carol Cadwalader of The Guardian has said DiCaprio is polite, charming, makes jokes, engages eye contact, and manages to give almost no hint whatsoever of his actual personality. DiCaprio is regarded as one of the finest actors of his generation. As he achieved international stardom after Titanic, it intensified his image as a teen idol and romantic lead, from both of which he sought to disassociate himself. He has said he feels nervous starring in big-budget studio films due to their hype and marketing campaigns. As an actor, he likes to look at film as a relevant art form, like a painting or sculpture. 100 years from now, people will still be watching that movie. He is drawn to roles based on real-life people and stories told in specific periods. According to Karen James, DiCaprio is unafraid of working on offbeat projects by first-rate directors, a risk that has led to misbegotten projects like The Beach, but also to his successful collaborations with Martin Scorsese on several projects. DiCaprio has described his relationship with the director as pretty much a dream come true for me, and admires his knowledge of film, crediting him for teaching him its history and importance. Scorsese, on his part, has said, "Leo will give me the emotion where I least expect it and could only hope for in about 3 or 4 scenes, and he can do it take after take." Jesse Hassinger of the AV Club believes both artists have benefited from the projects, which have helped define their careers in the 2000s. Agnieszka Holland, who directed DiCaprio in Total Eclipse in 1995, describes him as one of the most mature actors I've ever worked with, and admires his courageous choice of roles. She remarked that he does not apply method acting, but is doing some trick which is pretty mysterious to everyone watching, frankly, even for the director. Look at him on screen and, for the moment of the shot, he really becomes the character. Film critic Philip French, writing for The Observer, has called DiCaprio a superb actor who hasn't yet quite become an adult, and identified a theme of characters in the process of becoming a man. He wrote that DiCaprio's inclination toward films about dysfunctional families and characters seeking a father figure allude to his own troubled childhood. DiCaprio often plays characters who themselves are playing roles, which, according to Karen James, looks simple on screen but is immensely sophisticated. He tends to play anti-heroes and characters who lose their mental stability as the narrative progresses. DiCaprio is particularly known for his ability to heavily commit to each role he plays. Colin Covert of the Seattle Times noted how this quality sets him apart from most of his contemporaries and redefines film stardom. Several media publications such as People, Empire, and Harper's Bazaar have included DiCaprio in their list of the most attractive actors. He has said he does not believe in focusing on appearance, as this is only temporary and can negatively affect one's profession in the industry, and looks for career longevity instead. In 2005, DiCaprio was made a commander of the Ordre des Arts et des Lettres by the French Minister of Culture for his contributions to the arts. In 2016, he was named one of the 100 most influential people in the world by Time magazine. He was included in Forbes' annual list of the world's highest-paid actors in 2008, and from 2010 to 2016, with respective earnings of $45 million, $28 million, $77 million, $37 million, $39 million, $29 million, and $27 million, topping the list in 2011. The magazine has praised DiCaprio's ability to star in risky, R-rated films that become box office successes. The Hollywood Reporter listed him as one of the 100 most powerful people 2016 to 2019. A writer for the same magazine credits DiCaprio for being the rare actor to have a successful career without ever having made a comic book movie, family film, or pre-branded franchise. Leo is the franchise. Stacey Wilson Hunt, analyzing his career in New York Magazine in 2016, noted that DiCaprio, unlike most of his contemporaries, had not starred in a failed film in the previous 10 years. Of his success, DiCaprio says, "My attitude is the same when I started. I feel very connected to that 15-year-old kid who got his first movie." DiCaprio has cited James Dean as one of his favorite and most influential actors. When asked about which performances stayed with him the most in an interview, DiCaprio responded, "I remember being incredibly moved by Jimmy Dean in East of Eden. There was something so raw and powerful about that performance. His vulnerability, his confusion about his entire history, his identity, his desperation to be loved. That performance just broke my heart." DiCaprio is identified as one of the most active celebrities in the climate change movement. According to him, he was eager to learn about ecology from an early age, watching documentaries on rainforest depletion and the loss of species and habitats. He has said environment is more important to him than spirituality, and that he is agnostic. He established the Leonardo DiCaprio Foundation in 1998, a non-profit organization devoted to promoting environmental awareness. Although concerned with all areas of the environment, it focuses on global warming, preserving Earth's biodiversity, and supporting renewable energy. It has worked on projects in over 40 countries and has produced 2 short web docuseries, Water Planet and Global Warming. The foundation has also funded debt for nature swaps. DiCaprio has received praise from the environmental groups and accolades, including the Martin Litton Environmental Award in 2001 from Environment Now and the Environmental Leadership Award in 2003 from Global Green USA. He has been an active supporter of numerous environmental organizations and sat on the board of the World Wildlife Fund, Global Green USA, and International Fund for Animal Welfare. DiCaprio has owned environment-friendly electric hybrid vehicles, and his home is powered by solar panels. His use of private jets and large yachts has attracted criticism due to their large carbon footprints. DiCaprio states that global warming is the world's #1 environmental challenge. He chaired the National Earth Day celebration in 2000, where he invited Bill Clinton, and they discussed plans to deal with global warming and the environment. DiCaprio presented at the 2007 American leg of Live Earth, and in 2010 earned a nomination for the VH1 Do Something Award for his environmental work. In November 2010, DiCaprio donated $1 million to the Wildlife Conservation Society at Russia's Tiger Summit. DiCaprio's persistence in reaching the event after encountering 2 plane delays caused then Prime Minister Vladimir Putin to describe him as a musik, or real man. In 2011, DiCaprio joined the Animal Legal Defense Fund's campaign to free Tony, a tiger who had spent the last decade at the Tiger truck stop in Grosse-Tete, Louisiana. A benefit 11th hour fine art auction he organized in 2013 raised nearly $40 million for his foundation. He told attendees, "Bid as if the fate of the planet depended on us." It became the world's highest grossing environmental charity event ever held. In 2014, he was appointed as a UN representative on climate change, and later that year, he made an opening statement to members of the UN Climate Summit. In 2015, he announced his intention to divest from fossil fuels. He again spoke at the UN in April 2016, prior to the signing of the Paris Climate Change Agreement. At a 2016 meeting with Pope Francis, DiCaprio gave a charity donation and spoke about environmental issues. A few days later, possibly influenced by this meeting, the Pope said he would act in a charity film. DiCaprio traveled to Indonesia in early 2016, where he criticized the government's palm oil industry slash-and-burn forest clearing methods. In July 2016, his foundation awarded $15.6 million to help protect wildlife and the rights of Native Americans, along with combating climate change. That October, DiCaprio joined Mark Ruffalo in North Dakota in supporting of the Standing Rock tribe's opposition to the Dakota Access Pipeline. In April 2017, he protested against President Trump's inaction on climate change by attending the People's Climate March. In July, a charity auction and celebrity concert put on by DiCaprio's foundation had raised over $30 million in its opening days. DiCaprio's foundation donated $100 million in December 2018 to fight climate change. In 2019, DiCaprio's environmental NGO Earth Alliance has pledged $5 million in order to help protect the Amazon after fires destroyed large parts of the rainforest in July and August of that year. In May 2021, DiCaprio announced a $43 million pledge to enact conservation operations across the Galapagos Islands, with the announcement marked by his social media accounts being taken over by a wildlife veteran and island restoration specialist, Paula A. Castaño. During the 2004 presidential election, DiCaprio campaigned and donated to John Kerry's presidential bid. He gave $2,300 to Barack Obama's presidential campaign in the 2008 election, the maximum contribution an individual could give in that election cycle, and $5,000 to Obama's 2012 campaign. DiCaprio endorsed Hillary Clinton for the 2016 presidential election. In March 2020, DiCaprio attended a fundraiser for Joe Biden at the home of Paramount Pictures executive Sherry Lansing. Prior to the 2020 election, DiCaprio narrated a Netflix documentary series about voting rights, stating, "All of us may have been created equal, but we'll never actually be equal until we all vote, so don't wait." On social media, DiCaprio urged voters to make a plan to cast their ballots and to draw attention to voter suppression and restrictive voter ID laws, citing vote riders as a source of information and assistance. In 1998, DiCaprio and his mother donated $35,000 for a Leonardo DiCaprio computer center at the library in Los Feliz, the site of his childhood home. It was rebuilt after the 1994 Northridge earthquake and opened in early 1999. In 2010, he donated $1 million to relief efforts in Haiti after the earthquake. In April 2013, DiCaprio donated $61,000 to the gay rights group GLAAD. In 2016, DiCaprio took part in an annual fundraising gala event of Children of Armenia Fund as a special guest of his close friend and gala's honorary chair, Tony Shafrazi. DiCaprio contributed $65,000 to the cause. After Hurricane Harvey in 2017, DiCaprio provided $1 million to the United Way Harvey Recovery Fund through his foundation. In 2020, DiCaprio's foundation donated $3 million to Australia brushfire relief efforts. DiCaprio's personal life is the subject of widespread media attention. He rarely grants interviews and is reticent about his private life, but he has been the subject of several articles detailing his involvement with women aged 25 or younger. In 1999, DiCaprio met Brazilian model Gisele Bündchen, whom he dated until 2005. He was romantically involved with Israeli model Bar Raffaeli from 2005 to 2011, during which time he met with Israeli President Shimon Peres and visited Raffaeli's hometown of Hod HaSharon. In 2005, DiCaprio's face was severely injured when model Aretha Wilson hit him over the head with a broken bottle at a Hollywood party. She pled guilty and was sentenced in 2010 to 2 years in prison. He also dated German fashion model Toni Garn from July 2013 until December 2014, and later in 2017. DiCaprio has been in a relationship with Argentine-American model and actress Camila Morone since 2017. DiCaprio owns a home in Los Angeles and an apartment in Battery Park City. In 2009, he bought an island, Blacador Cay, off mainland Belize, on which he is set to open an environment-friendly resort. And in 2014, he purchased the original Dinah Shore residence designed by mid-century modern architect Donald Wexler in Palm Springs, California. In 2017, when the Wolf of Wall Street producer Red Granite Pictures was involved in the 1MDB money laundering scandal, the Bruno Manser Funds, a Swiss-based charity focused on protecting the Borneo's rainforest, called on DiCaprio to turn over the gifts he received from business associates at the production company to the U.S. government, including the Best Actor Oscar that Marlon Brando won for his role in 1954's On the Waterfront, a $3.2 million Pablo Picasso painting, and a $9 million Jean-Michel Basquiat collage. According to the online portal Box Office Mojo and the review aggregate site Rotten Tomatoes, DiCaprio's most critically and commercially successful roles include What's Eating Gilbert Grape, Romeo and Juliet, Titanic, Catch Me If You Can, Gangs of New York, The Aviator, The Departed, Blood Diamond, Shutter Island, Inception, Django Unchained, The Great Gatsby, The Wolf of Wall Street, The Revenant, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. His films have grossed over $7.2 billion worldwide. DiCaprio has been recognized by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences for the following performances. At the 66th Academy Awards, Best Actor nomination as Arnold Arnie Grape in What's Eating Gilbert Grape. The 77th Academy Awards, Best Actor nomination as Howard Hughes in The Aviator. The 79th Academy Awards, Best Actor nomination as Danny Archer in Blood Diamond. The 86th Academy Awards, Best Picture and Best Actor nominations as Jordan Belfort in The Wolf of Wall Street. The 88th Academy Awards, Best Actor, which he won for his role as Hugh Glass in The Revenant. And the 92nd Academy Awards, Best Actor nomination as Rick Dalton in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. DiCaprio has won 3 Golden Globe Awards, Best Actor Motion Picture Drama for The Aviator and The Revenant, and Best Actor Motion Picture Musical or Comedy for The Wolf of Wall Street, as well as a BAFTA Award and a Screen Actors Guild Award for Best Actor for The Revenant. And with that, my friends, we have come to the end of the article, and it is time for me to scroll to the top so that I may bid you all a good night or good morning whenever it is you chose